These subjects are the main curriculum, the substance in the curriculum. We have a lot of the basic subjects that are found in any school across the world, but a little bit alterations. Math, standard. Social studies and historical studies are separated because in social studies we'd be delving into more detailed sort of courses, like we would distinguish between geography, politics, we would look at sociology, like human rights, because there's so many parts of the field of social science that is really applicable to change in Africa right now, especially sociology and political science, maybe even psychology, and sorts of things that students might be interested in as they're so passionate about bringing change to Africa. And historical studies, with the Pangea School's curriculum, we'd want to bring out history again, because history it's sort of become taboo for a high school student to enjoy a history class. So we would make history interesting by not just making students memorize and regurgitate facts that they're just gonna forget one day, and it being boring lectures, but it would actually be centered on more historiography, looking at a primary source document and analyzing the bias of it, evaluating where it has merit, where it has value, and where it is limited, and why. And this is actually an extremely important skill for living in today's world, because bias is everywhere. Commercial bias, bias in writing, in books, in political campaigns, everywhere. So it's important for students at an early age to be able to point out different bias and try to understand it and look at multiple perspectives and multiple sources in order to really gain true knowledge. And science, pretty standard, but there's a separation of technology and engineering. It would include sort of vocational skills like carpentry and web development, computer science, not vocational per se, but less academia and more hands-on. And it would be technology of all sorts, kind of just STEM that we usually think about in science class, but sort of a separation there. Language A would be basically English, but we expect that students in different countries and even from one community will all be at different levels of English. In Malawi, for example, English is not the first language, but it's often taught in school as a second language. Language B would be any sort of language that is foreign to the student. So if it's a Malawian student, their language A would be English, and they would study their native language of Chichewa. Their language B, they might choose French or Japanese or some other African language. And of course, it's really important for students to be on top of their native language, because we don't want to continue to see, native languages in Africa die out as they already have begun to. And it's part of the Pangea School's philosophy of a global-centric education rather than a Eurocentric education.